Papa, when I go on a simple and cow, rather than part a more chili dog, or a dear in a now, send a baby, I'm a time mechanic. Say, it do maybe I was a one so over so. It do maybe I was a one so over. They say, and they say, I don't match a deal when I hope what they're mine in Nachi. And a part, rather than do me in Nachi. Yes, there was Sudi. I mean, we also have some roles to play in how far God will take us. Because it looks to me that everything is bound by time. Ubetimi awo adoma chede. Ubetimi enya kwenya hodo. Ubetimi I have all the resources needed, but it takes time to get you to your destination. It is one for abotre adwen antena. Na say one show hunkran abebia. Na one show ho de emprempia. Ubetimi apem so akwa akodu baby a obeja ujidiem. Because like I did say, after you have done everything that you can do, and things seems not to still be clicking, it maybe you feel so exhausted. You feel like you don't know what to do again. And during those times, you just have to keep calm. During those times, you just have to exercise patience. And even sometimes, patience doesn't pay. What pays is endurance. And endurance comes in when nothing is working, nothing is clicking, but you seem to have no other option than to wait. And so you wait in pain. And even as you wait in pain, that means you endure. And they are all part of life. I don't know whichever stage you are as we speak. But if they need be, exercise patience. If they need be, take time. And if they need be, endure. And with that, you will definitely get to your destination. May the Lord bless you and keep you in all your endeavors. Today is another day. If today is the first time that you are getting into contact with us, in fact, we are making the gospel known again. Because if the gospel is well presented, it will have positive impact on our society, on our lives, on the next generation, and every aspect of our life. Because the focus of the gospel is to make sure that you and I have better life here on earth and even after our death. The gospel doesn't demand the payment of money. The gospel doesn't seem to enslave anybody. That is not the quest of the gospel. But like we've been communicating in our previous messages, it is people who have been taking advantage of the gospel. That is why now many do not even have time to hear the gospel. But that is not what we are talking about today. What I mean is that what the Lord is doing through us is that we are going back to the drawing board and speak the raw gospel with assurance that there will be newness in our life, that things will be better for you and I, and that our children will also enjoy the good things of the Lord. Because that is exactly what the gospel seems, or that is exactly what the gospel calls for. Like I'm trying to say. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, the verse 17. The Bible said that for the Lord was in the Son, reconciling the world to himself, not counting men's sin against them, but subjecting them to the message of reconciliation. So you realize that the main purpose for God in giving us the gospel is that all of us, all human beings will unite, be one, and fight for each other. That is the demand of the gospel. That is why the Son of God wasn't limited to a certain environment. It wasn't given to a group of people. John chapter 3 verse 16, a very common scripture that we all share, where it says that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him will not perish, but then have everlasting life. And in 1 John chapter 2 verse 2, he says that for he is the atoning sacrifice of our sins, and not for us alone, but for the whole world. And so that tells you that the key element of the gospel is that the world will be a beautiful place, and that the whole world will see the beauty of the Lord, is that the whole world will come to a point where I see you as my brother, where you can find rest in me, and I can also find rest in you. But because of the broken mechanisms that we have, because of how people have been taking advantage of the gospel, that is why we have lost all those qualities. And now, semino bedi no kra, say jidie ni ho mpobio, odo eni ho, passion ni ho, enipa anya krado, say obeboa ni yonko nipa. Eti wonum kra na menka say ye kabom, edi dibre ema won. Someone share say ye ho be higher no. When they get there, they take advantage of us. Because the gospel is not living in us. Because God is not living in us. And now, say ye ka asempano manisipi. Na say ye nya sa Onyankopon dono ene na dwempon etina yimu a eno kura beboa ama ye mpetamu atumpon ama ye na nkasa ya brabo akwa animu na ema ewiase asetena ayefe na ye nika na ya kono. Etini aye and say we are speaking the gospel as it is. Na ene no mamenka say nene de dikan a what the answer say YouTube and I will share over click the subscribe button. Now I subscribe it. Now eno na chino wa join your Facebook page and I say anytime I be upload asempa ni bia no what the I will click it and I will share say be na afufro so ebenya asempa kan na atena na ebema asem ba betina nyina yemu na ehu ye hu se enuanom na yetu na nam se ne a Onyankopon epe no na yeguso ema asempa no ada honimu no kwasam ne se ma menka se enwoma eka asempa ne pa ochro no like I do say that the most faithful communicator of the gospel is the Bible. The Bible is the most powerful and the loudest evangelist. Let me put it that way. Because the Bible has a lot to say as far as the gospel is concerned. And so today, it pleases the Lord that we speak about the Bible. Because any effect that the misrepresentation of the gospel has left has also imparted the Bible. So today, we are talking about the Bible. And let me say that for us to be on the same page, you can just, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, just flip through and then catch up with our previous message so that we all be on the same page. And I mean, today we are talking about the Bible. But like I do say, we are not going the theological way. I mean, we are not picking things, to be so scared. Yeah, might be and I say obi entiasie. So we are touching on the basic so that we can all flow in the same line. Now, my menka say Osha Bible no, and I say a Bible na sema. My menka say a day Bible na nkasa no. So Osha baby ni ti efri, metre Greek kasa mu a. Na che say tabiblia no na samre no say Greek ni eka say tabiblia na che say enwoma ahodo a wona kabo. I mean a collection of books. It's an okra ma wa dwin bi say Bible no na enwoma enkitinkiti bia na ewo ho e na wokeka di bo mu e na oba benya ne baako e na esa say yekeka enwoma ahodo e di bo mu nti no e na ye ba be frɛ no Bible. Na ma menka say ekwaya edikanfo no efaya wonya saa ensem na wachro e wo saa enwoma enkitinkiti no so no and I say how they gathered the information that were captured on the scrolls that were later compiled to give out the Bible, was through music, and I say storytelling and our poetry or things of that sort, because na eniamani bi esi etwem dadaada eti se obi and I say wana na oben ensem no eka ede akire enchirima no na ogwagwa no na won so ekiro ede egu ho no eno na maye ba benya no awo enwoma ahodo so se nia se obi a wo keep record of your activities yan kan say emere bi beba wa brabo mu na after you travel back to your past and then you gather all the piece of information that you've left, and as you gather them and put them together, they now become your biography, or they give you a perfect picture of how things has been from the scratch to where you are. And American say yes, I kwan so na nenam, and I wonya sa ensem na enei e wo Bible nim no, and I obo ano e wo enwoma enketenkete so. Ansa na somewhere in history edikafo na ekekabo na wode nya wo chro no. My man say Luke chapter 1, the verse 1 up to 3. Or say, just as many has taken to give account of the things that have been fulfilled in us, they were handed down to them through eyewitness from those who were close to the incident. And Luke says that, having carefully investigated, it looks good to me to also give a careful account to you, Theophilus, and I say your excellency, Theophilus. And now my person make the kind of say, when you know edi adanse, look which I say, and some are SCC way you know, and on air say 1 hour when any 8 year when I will who you know, walk at the actual fro, now waiting to that war, and I made me look so me share mono, near me to me who you know, and I made some metro. At the actual, and the channel says, "How quite no eso, and then nam, and I yababenya the informations, and I say the events that we have in the Bible." Apostle Peter said that 1 Peter chapter 1, the verse 16. It said that for when we told you about the ascension of the Son, we did not depend on cleverly invented stories, but we were eyewitness. And you also trying to say, and men are not obeying Adena a sino, and I watch edit to her. Nina, there, my maker say, I'm only trying more light on these things to embellish the fact that, yes, the information or the data were handed down to the generations, and I say to the young ones, and as they put them together and hand them on piece of papers. If today we will say piece of papers, but then a piece of scrolls, tablets, and then in history, or let me say that most scholars believe that between AD 363, or let me say AD 363, 393, 397, in Carthage, in Hippo, in Laodicea, respectively, that was where, let me say that the founding fathers gathered and they accepted some of the documents that were captured, especially about the Son of God, or most of the documents that were relevant to the life of the Son of God. And no more sir, and all for so, and all the babenya and woman and nay, yawo, our Bible no, emu. Now say, Osha Bible ni ye pa. The Bible has got many divisions, and one also has to understand the reason for the divisions because they affect how you communicate with the Bible. But don't forget that our focus has always been the gospel. But we are talking about the Bible because it is the most faithful communicator of the gospel. And so what I want to say at this point is that you also have to be mindful of the divisions that we have in the Bible, especially the two main divisions, talking about Old Testament, apam dadano and apam fufrono. And I say, Osha apam dadana, nya eye titru, and say, ebo amanie, edia fo unyamebano. And I say, all the informations that are captured in the Old Testament are only leading to the Son of God. And so, as I say, I mean, can say, wako court demo, na o kasem, na unya adansi krata, and I say, bibi ebedu adansi. Eti apam dadam nimu enwoma ni nyina eye sa 36 books ne de na dwuma titire wa eya ne say edi adanse na abo amane say wonyameba no ono ene nia na edikanfo no e ka no asem and as say e prove the authenticity of the Son of God and I say Emma ewiase ehu se asempa na ya atwen no enu nie. It is a ochono kwasha se efi Genesis, Exodus, ene na kika ho nyina obo onyame ba no na sefo ho amane a ni nyina eba besi onyame ba no so hyene so sa ena apam dada no kra no eno so esa wo different divisions, mainly talking about the Torah, the Ketuvim and the Nevi'im. Mecha say so hwa apam dada no so mu kra na the title and woman na edikan na efe ne Mose woman edikan no eno ne ye pa ne say ekasa edefa emra na onyame ba na asefo na wode etena eho say ohwe emra ni mu a ni nyina no ema it helps you to value the work done by the Son of God. And I say it helps you to value the gospel, because you look at the law, especially Numbers chapter 28, and you consider the fact that every morning, afternoon, evening, one has to offer a lamb that is 2 years old in order to get himself purified. Now, so na asempa na bewie ye no na saa niema ni nyina enipa ehia se woye bio ansa na waba beso onyankopɔ ani. Na me pesa me kan say emra no ni nyina it was leading to the Son. Ani nyina ba bewie onyame ba no so. Na wa so me say enko emfa ntra onyame ba no. Galatians chapter 3, verse 23 and 24. Or say emra na asempa enya mai no, for we were locked up under the law until the Son was revealed. Anya echene say sa Mose mra ni nyina nya eya ne say emma enipa hu se emre bi beba onyankopɔ enamadon so ebeka wiase nyina e de abom enko emfa ntra onyame ba no. Romans chapter 7 verse 6 was said, having been released from that which bound us, now we serve in the new order of the Spirit, but not in the old way of the written code. 18 there was a waiting who was and say the fact say apam dada na eka apam foforo no ho no enkyere say emre a ye de asempa no na etena no ehun po hia say obi ko fam niema bi na oba beka say odi so ena apam dada ne divisions ne so anani nchichemu ne bi eye nia ni titiro no eye ne onyakopo enam wona atifo anase adifo na eso ekan ani nyina eba besi onyame ba ne so ye ma asempa no ho ada ho hyane so ena ochiro no ena ka asempa ne pa eti ye ka ne se amwo hu se emra yesa ekokofa asempa no de atena no sa wo fa Bible no na sa wo kwa pam dada ni mu a hunu say anything that we are going to read there is nothing but a shadow, and if there is anything good you see, you can only pick it as a good practice, but not something that you are obliged or that you are forced to do. Take good notice and understand in that way. And the other half of the Bible also being the New Testament, and it is a woman and I decline. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And ekasa de fa onyame ba na wo ene ne bra a ba boy ene ne church la o chire na eno no kra no metan ka say that believe 3 years a onyame ba na e de church say no eno no very critical to the extent say na eno no et say odansifo ebesi dan na watwa asade ato ho na oja no wa magifo na ma besi gesi so me can say because most of the times, if you don't analyze critically some of the very words of the Son of God, you may think that they are contradicting the teachings of the apostles. Because the Son of God was born under the law. He was living with people of the law. But then he was taking them from the law into a new covenant. And so, he did not have to do it at a spot. Obe fiti prekope na waye ni nyina emnita wadi mu eti ne nkyerɛkyerɛ na wɔkyerɛkyerɛ nyina no it was leading to something. Mama can say okay, Hebrews chapter 9 verse 13 honoma asama waka say a war is not put into effect until the one that makes it dies. Or should I say obi anamamenka say obi ensamase ede to hɔ a emra onipa ne te ase no ensamase ne nya adwuma age se onipa no awu ede fie wiase a ne kyerɛ ne sɛ onyame ba no ne nkyerɛ ene sɛ ebenam no so na wiase nyinaa ade asan ba bɛbɔ onyankopɔn hu nyinaa no na ya ade a na ɔhyehyɛ ade ato hɔ na edifo no aba bɛda ne di a na me de kan sɛ ne sent no so wo kan Matthew, Mark, Luke and John are the very words of the Son of God, and I said the very informations and the immediate informations about the Son of God that you should also understand that those periods were between the new era that was to come during the day of Pentecost. And no, you have to be very mindful how you apply it. You have to be very careful how you quote them. But remember that we are talking about all these things so that the true nature of the Bible will be revealed, because it is the Bible that we are all going back to. It is the Bible that is helping all of us to know the demands of the gospel, so that as we live by them, we all become one people, just as we originated from one Lord, just as the Lord expects us to be. And in living that way, no, na ede enwonyam hye ebebre onyankopon ena ofei ye kasa ede afa ochro no na deban se na esi etie eho ana apam dada apam foforo no aside the Matthew, Mark, Luke and John amaka wasem no, you also realize say enwoma ne bebre so edifo ne nwoma that were written in response to some happenings, and I say enniema binuma na ewo say ensori no. And I said some questions that were popping up in the churches now, it became pleasing that the apostles write to address some of them. And son, a woman our church or send a midi can shasiano. As some woman in us not aspect no, and on abaquasemu, and the California tonight, etna send a okikadi boom when I make us say, or one near my hoodoo would jina swan. Or did a woman ebi atu na se no se na enwoma no na edoso na ne oye ne se na obisa se ofa enwoma bi ade ask themselves odifo bi na choye meka ekwa amofa so a omoche apam foforo no enwoma no tu mu ebi atu no mo po bi etinye ye odifo na nkasa na choye ana se nipa one odifo bi ekoba choye no sa enwoma bi num sa no e na mo gidi tu mu ena enwoma sa edikanfo nsori ni nyina na waje atuma na ode ejina so ya asori no ena oje enwoma binum sa so editumu na nia emit those criteria binum te sa ne de wonum epoye and they called them uninspired, and I say the spirit in them rejected those books because they were not in line, and I say they were not having the capacity needed to help carry the gospel to the next generation. Hallelujah. China so for mommy. It is a woman now one most of them were not allowed even to be read, and I say most of them were not allowed, and all of them were not allowed to be used for teaching. We are talking about all these things so that you and I will come into an agreement that because of that, if one lays his or her hand in some of the books that were rejected, you can only read them maybe to know more, but you don't read them for teaching. You don't read them for practice. Just as the Old Testament books are also good just to help us understand or know the value that has to be placed on the gospel. Pick it from that angle and understand it for me in that way. And one key thing that we would also like to talk about, even before we close or we draw the curtain today, is that after Sarah and Mumano near wajidi tumu and near opoye no wakika bomu no, now it was raw. somewhere in history, 12 AD 1238, AD 1551, that was where a group of people sat and in their best attempt trying to make the Bible a harmful book and as a book that can be read at ease. No, so they sat and then they thought it wise to bring divisions so that it would be good for easy referencing. And no mono and now so Emma chapters and the verses about the Bible and scholars do suggest a lot of names. I mean, people who were behind the addition of the chapters and the verses. Some of the popular names is Cardinal Hugo de Escaro, who is credited with the invention of the of chapters, and then also different other names, Stephen Lonston, and Nipoku Ahuda Wakeka, Robert Etienne, and some other people. Say one may suggest different other names, but the benchmark is that somewhere in those times, AD 1238, AD 1551, a honomonsono, and additional for in their best effort, so more Bible, Nababe, Muma, Obiabet Media Casa, na Edokroye Abano, and Omode Chichemu, Edebom, Yanshasa and Nieme, and so let's get to know these basic things about the Bible so that when you pick it and you are going into it, you know what you are going to read. And so any session that you open, you know what you are talking about. Because we have come to an era where people are just quoting the Bible anyhow, without any respect. And say Bible no asembia ewo bebia no eda asem so enti no se yenina ya be ko benkromu na yakọ adesua mu so that at least you know the reason or the purposes or what prompted the writing of each book, because I told you that they were originally books on their own and they had some specific information that they were carrying. And so as these books were brought together, were compiled, and then we have the Bible as it is today. And so before you speak from any book, talk about Colossians. Before you speak from any book, talk about First Peter. Before you speak from any book, talk about Matthew. And what's a woman with taya and ma wana wa troy no and the troy any empo and menekra one the troy any nipa one troy, because wana or men can say what troy and woman no. In fact, enim dia from ebi enim dia wo enim HMB. So just as even in the Old Testament, the Jews used to value some books ahead of others, no. In fact, it is applicable even in the New Testament, because you look at the level of education of some people and how buoyant they were in the spirit, which were all translated into writing. And so the point is that before we quote from any book henceforth, make sure you know the book. Make sure you know who wrote it. Make sure you know the setting. Make sure you know the audience to which they were written to, so that when you are quoting from any angle, you know what you are doing. And like I've said, if there is anything that we can disrespect in the Bible, in order for us to lay hold of the right gospel, let's start disrespecting verses and chapters and go, for the full message of each book, so that any time that we are speaking from the book, you know what you are speaking or you know what you are saying. And yes, sir, now say send and yamate and nay, now say obiabe twemnika, now go to fit First Timothy, now won nim at the frontier near Ochoa and Echoa now just say enya dia you bet me assign ako asempano eho na anama no so ama nia onyankopon ewo maye no yensaka yede e kasa bewie e kasa to fabo munyina say we are going back to the gospel. We are fixing the gospel, and in fixing the gospel we have spoken about the raw gospel, about some of the things that happened to the gospel where Flavius Varicius Constantinus popularly known as Constantine. And then the dog. So, yɛde ɛnɛ adesua ɛbɛwie no maame nka sɛ mmerɛ di anim no yɛbɛkasa afa nneɛma bi ana atorosɛm binom so a nkɔfo bi ka ɛde hyɛ wɔkyerɛ no ana de fa wɔkyerɛ no a ɛno no sɛ wodi akyire bebree a ɛnya nsunsuaso bɔne ɛwɔ asɛmpa no ɛho na maame nka sɛ ɔkyerɛ no ɛnɛ for where we have come to no. Let us all appreciate this. And Mama say we are building a generation that everybody will know the Bible. Everybody will know the gospel. That is why we are walking Bible generation. So endeavor to learn more, endeavor to know more. And let us all appreciate these things so that henceforth we will know how to deploy the Bible, so that we will know how to use the Bible in sticking to the gospel. Now my main can say Ochrono and woman we are Sabakasemu and Crawford Akasetiapa and Crawford Akaka and Sam Ahodo and the Afahopa. It is a do baby, Nasa what is a big Kanya or Petty for Chanoa and you can say a Quambisuno, Oman how baby. My man can say one Scottish guy, James Houghton. Woke up one day and made a declaration that in 100 years' time, the Bible will be a forgotten book. And after some few years, he died. And unfortunately, his multi-billion, mansion was bought by a Bible society, which has helped in the production of different copies of the Bible. And what I want to say from all this is that the Bible, even though it has been criticized, even though it has been scrutinized, a lot has been said about it, but it is still surviving, and it is the most trusted source that you can run to for the gospel. May the Lord be with you and bless you. Like I said, you meet again, and in a subsequent meeting, we are going to speak about some of the lies or some of the things that people say about the Bible, that when you go into it, you don't see it that way, so that we will walk with the truth and the fact in this era, because the gospel is a message of fact, not a message of faith. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Be with us and be part of us. It is for all of us standing by the gospel, standing with the gospel, and becoming better, so that the generation after us will also be better. And not only that, so that you and I will have salvation at the return of the Son of God, just as the gospel states. And I don't count when I'm a main case, yet there's a da, Cassia, everybody in a boy for our saying a senior, Brano, you did this fixing the gospel campaign messages at the bro, Kaliwan Multimedia. There was a Alpha Kaliwan Multimedia, I want to say, a music video, a year now, and I say, double beer. I'll be also better videos, and I say pictures, no. What the other say? What your screen now say? Your numbers or what the other say? Baby, a war. Our Ghana Hano. In fact, the infidel who do camera beer. I was a Juma who do beside ye. Kalwan Multimedia, Yawana Hodo. It is all fair. Now you know, Ababedin so so that you enjoy the good service, because Yenina send a good soa, ye cano. Say a number of panoso, ama ye wahi high. Oh, yes, Nana and also no Yankupo to me, any anathema. And then actually, or click the subscribe button on YouTube, or join your Facebook page, or follow your Instagram, any other social media platforms. Now I recommend the other stuff for so be a mecca home, near Castle Pano, send near city. Nana and of Nania on Yankupo, a war at the Mayano. Yes, I can actually any other means. I'll bet me afa, Edia supporte, and I say Edia Buano, a queen or your numbers, I will screen. I say, a additional non come na Kai at Sampano, never Sampano 2 and a more. Send a mess to me down Sampano, send a yes, down Sampano 2 and a mono. Na and I'm also near Nina, and Sanka on Yankopo, Adam. God bless you.